Okay, everybody, hello. Welcome to Digital Progress Monitoring, PD. I want to thank you for taking your time to participate in this training. As you guys know, this is something that I am doing for a class at Georgetown College, but this is also something that I think is going to make your job easier. I think you're going to find the lessons that I'm going to teach you to be beneficial, and it's going to, again, like I said, it's going to make our jobs easier as it pertains to tracking and analyzing your IEP progress data. First thing I wanted to take a look at was what is required from us as special education teachers when it comes to data monitoring and presenting data at ARCs and to parents and things of that nature. Okay, so what I've got for us first, this is our compliance record review document. You're going to recognize this from the document we do every year when we go through our brown folders and check to see if everybody's putting stuff that they need in there. Okay, we look at item 38B. Okay, the compliance document says to look for IEPs, progress data, conference summaries, and in the progress monitoring data folder. Okay, we don't necessarily have the folder here in Clark County, but that's fine. The direction says to mark yes if there is evidence of progress data collection, which includes graphs, charts, checklists, etc. Okay, and there's a big word there, and the analysis, which is the written summary of the data. Okay, and we need that for each annual goal. I want to stop there and highlight this each annual goal, because what I want you to understand and make sure you realize, we don't have to analyze every single benchmark that we're working on. Okay, State of Kentucky says we have to collect data on each goal and provide analysis for each goal. Okay, so if you've got 3 benchmarks that come together to make one goal, don't make your job harder than it has to be. I mean, if it's something relevant that you need data on those separate benchmarks, or you want to present on those, okay. But what you have to do is have data for each goal. It has to contain graphs, charts, or checklists, and it has to have the written summary. Okay. Something else I want to look at here, it says, and this is straight from the State of Kentucky, the compliance document still, it says ongoing progress data may be kept in a separate location from the due process folder, as long as the final analysis evidence, which includes your graphs, charts, checklists, and the written analysis of the data, are added to the due process record when the IEP is reviewed. Okay, when do we review IEPs? That's going to be at ARC meetings. Okay, so you've got an IEP you've been working on all year, or for however long you've been working on it. When you come to that ARC, you're going to need your evidence of your data collection. You're going to need evidence of your written analysis. Okay, and of course, you know, we also are going to need those when we send home progress reports. Clark County says we have to do progress reports with report cards and with the midterms. Okay, so 8 times a year we are sending this stuff home. But what I want to make sure you recognize are 2 things. First of all, every goal, not every benchmark, every goal has to have data and analysis, and that it's okay to keep your data somewhere else other than in the cumulative folder, okay, or in the due process folder. You can keep your data wherever you want. What I want to show you is how to keep your data online, okay, or on your computer. What I've got here, this is an example of how I do my data analysis, okay, and this has been looked at by our administrators, our director of special ed and assistant directors and such, and this is something that they have found acceptable. Matter of fact, they compliment me on it on multiple occasions, and I'm hoping that this is something that you'll find beneficial. I know a lot of times you guys are writing down your percentages by hand and pencil and paper and things like that, and maybe some of you have 8 or 10 different pieces of paper floating around that's all stapled together or paper clipped, and they've got different weeks and different percentages and data all kind of just stuck together. Sometimes that stuff can get lost or get confusing, or we forget to put things down, or not well organized at times. Okay, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that method, but I want to show you how I do it, and you can decide for yourselves if it's something that you think is beneficial. If you do, hopefully these lessons will show you how to make something like this also. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always text me or email me. Most of you have my cell phone number. If you don't, feel free to email me, travis.cottle@clark.kyschools.us. Same as you guys, right? Alright, so let's look at this example document that I've made for you, just to show you what I hope to teach you from these lessons, or what I want to maybe help you understand. What I start with is formatting this Excel sheet. Okay, I've got IEP progress monitoring fall semester just for me to keep track of. Most of this is just for me to keep track of what I'm doing. The student here is an example student, Johnny Test. He's in 3rd grade, and of course, I'm his case manager. This is the 16-17 school year, and then I like to put down the IEP start date, just so that in an instance where I maybe have 1 or 2 of these data sheets going for different IEPs, when we rewrite the IEP through the year, I'll know which one goes with which and that sort of thing. So that's what I choose to put in. You could change some of that around if you wanted to. It may help you to put the IEP end date just so that you are making sure that you're following through with your timelines. You know, that's another thing that we're working on here in Clark County. Make sure we hit those timelines just right. But so we start with that. Then we come down, and I'm going to show you, don't worry about how to do this or try to create it, because we're going to go through lesson by lesson how to format this and how to get it to do some of the things we want it to do to make your job easy. But just so you know what I've got, and for you to decide if you like what I've got, the first box I have here are just goals. Okay, this is one big cell that you can go in and write whatever you want in there. I've got goal 1. This is where Johnny says he has a reading goal. No, this isn't the exact goal from the IEP, because sometimes those are long and cumbersome, and you have to think about exactly how you're going to measure it or what it means. What I've put down basically is the gist of what I'm looking at when I do my probes. This says goal 1, Johnny will read a passage at her independent reading level and answer comprehension questions. So basically, I know from reading that, we're going to read a text at Johnny's reading level, and we're going to measure his comprehension, okay? So then I've got my benchmarks. Johnny's looking at 60% for 3 weeks, 80% for 3 weeks, 80% for 6 weeks to see if we can master this goal. Goal 2 says Johnny will complete academic tasks proficiently 4 out of 5 probes, okay? Of course, the actual goal in the IEP is going to have some language about winning the academic setting and over 4 consecutive weeks as measured by weekly progress monitoring data, what have you. You know how to word those already. That's not what this is for. I've got that broke down, though, goal 2, and you've got the first benchmark, Johnny will complete math tasks proficiently. Benchmark 2 says Johnny will complete writing tasks proficiently. Okay, so this we know is what we're working on. When I come over here to the side, my actual data portion, I've got the dates. Okay, these dates line up with every Wednesday of the school year. I collect my data usually on Fridays, and I try to get as much authentic data as I can. Like if the class is doing for instance, on the week of 9/7, that was the 3rd week of school this year. You can see because I have a column for the week of the school year. Also, that helps with my graphing. Okay, this is my x-axis on the graphs that I'm going to show you in a minute. But so if you look at the week of 9/7, I can tell you right away we read from the textbook a story called Destiny's Gift, and we took a comprehension test. Okay, so when I look at goal 1, actually that for the reading would be goal 2. Oh, I'm sorry, that is goal 1. Yeah, sorry. So we look at goal 1. She read Destiny's Gift, got 100% on the comprehension. I know for a fact those are based on 10 questions from the text. And so that I didn't have to read an extra book, or she didn't have to read an extra book. Johnny didn't have to read an extra book. Johnny didn't have to take a separate test that the other students weren't taking. It's right there, authentic data, Destiny's Gift, straight from the 3rd grade textbook. Okay. So then we go, and because the way these are stacking up, these just stack on each other, so I'm only measuring one benchmark at a time. So I've got benchmark, I just write it down as the goal actually, 100%, okay? So look at goal 2. And we're going to see goal 2 has 2 benchmarks that kind of come together. One is for math, one is for writing, okay? I can look and see, what did we do for math this week? Well, we were doing properties of addition. We also took a cold read test, and that would have had a extended response. I can see right here, extended response, and that's how I got the data for the writing, okay? So I've got 2 benchmarks that make up one goal, all right? So the way I like to do those, I've listed, you've got goal 1, you've got goal 2, okay? And if you look at goal 1, you can see I wrote the actual percentage in 100%. You look at goal 2, it's an average of cells N5 and O5 right here next to it, okay? And I've kind of messed it up there. Let me back out. All right. So if you look at goal 2.1, which says Johnny will complete math task proficiently 4 out of 5 probes. He was working on properties of addition, got a 90%. Okay. I took that extended response from the cold read that week, and he got a 70%. Okay. So off the top of my head, I know that those two average together to give me 80. Okay. But I'm going to show you how to do this. Excel will just do that for me, and that's an easy one. We know that's 80% off the top of our head. But what if instead of 70, what if she'd got a 65? Okay, automatically updates 78%. I don't have to worry about it. Okay, it's doing this for me, and you can copy and paste this formula all the way down this column, so that when you put your data in, it automatically figures your percentage. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. The other thing, and this is what I'm hoping that you're going to love, 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 because I know when we do our progress reports, and when we come to our ARC meetings, this is something that gets us. Okay, graphing. 95% of us do not like graphing. Okay, Excel will do it for us, so we set it up and tell it how to do it, and it'll do it automatically for us. Okay, so I'm going to scroll. I'm going to come back to this in a second, but let's go straight to the bottom. We've got a graph that'll come up on the bottom. I'm going to show you how to do that. IEP monitoring progress data graphs. Okay, the compliance document says we have to have evidence. You can't just say she was 100%. We have to have evidence. Here's our graphs, our evidence. We have got our probes and our evidence. We've got our graphs with evidence, and we're going to do this analysis, and we'll show you that in a second. But what I'm going to show you right now, so that you can see how great this is, and I'm hoping it increases your buy-in on following these lessons. But so let's look at this. Goal 1 is in blue here. Okay. Now if I look out at week 12, I can see that Johnny was on goal 1, which is that reading goal. He was at 90%. Okay. Great. Good job, Johnny. So let's go down to week 12, 90%. Well, let's say that we read a hard text that week, or maybe he wasn't paying attention, or he missed some days, what have you. So instead of getting 90, he had a bad week. 40% that week. Okay. All I got to do is update that data, and let's go back and look at our graph. Well, look at that. Johnny's not at 90% no more. The graph has automatically changed and moved him down to 40%. Okay? For that matter, let's say that all this data was off, and I'm just going to go change it to some different numbers so you can see that the data line move. And you can see I'm not really doing, all I'm putting in is numbers. You don't have to worry about it. You're not having to try to graph or change things. All I did was change the data, and Excel changed the graph for me. Okay? This graph is perfectly acceptable. Like I said, when we started, this format for presenting data has been looked at by our special ed director and assistant directors, the special ed facilitators, administrators. Everybody's happy with this. This is acceptable, and in fact, I might even say that they prefer this. It's clear and organized and has everything that we need. Okay, including the description, which isn't required, but I think it's just great. And gives us another level of validation to how we're doing our jobs. Okay. So the third component or the second component that we need is the analysis. Okay. So you come down and you look, and I've got a box for here. You can write. This is just an empty cell. You can write anything you want in there. Mine says Johnny has had a great start to the third grade year. In regard to goal 1, he's been reading books written at his independent level and answering questions from the text with 85% accuracy. Over the previous 4 weeks. I'll fix that. Okay. In regard to goal 2, blah blah blah. Whatever you need to put in there. You are good teachers. You know how to analyze this data, and you know what to put here. Okay. The beauty of it, and what I want to point out to this is, when we're presenting this data or sending this data home, every report card and every midterm, that's 8 times a year. Most of you have 10 or 12 or 14 kids. It really adds up. Okay. So what is beneficial? How is this going to help you? First of all, you change the data, it automatically changes the graph. No more graphing. That takes the graph component completely away. Okay? The computer does the graphing for you. You come down here, look for trends, write it up in the analysis. Okay? So the second thing, you're writing a paragraph or 2 on every one of these kids 8 times a year, not counting your ARCs. So even more than 8. So what is beneficial about keeping this? Okay? So let's look. Let's say this was report card 1, okay? So when we come to report card 2, is Johnny still going to be reading books written at his independent level? Yes, that's what the goal calls for. So I don't really need to change all that. What do we need to change? The percentage here, okay? So let's go now. And if you don't know how to do this, I'm going to show you this also. But so if I look at goal 1, the previous 4 weeks, all I'm going to do is highlight those last 4 weeks. And Excel will automatically give me a percentage here. 63, okay? So I don't have to rewrite this whole paragraph. What I need to do is, I know that I'm looking at that goal 1. Of course, remember, this is just an example student, so the numbers that I changed, they don't really matter. They're just for you to look at. But I don't have to rewrite all that. All I have to do is change that 85 to 63. Okay? Bada bing, bada boom. It's ready to send home. Mom and Dad's happy. Your principals are happy. Our special ed director's happy. And hopefully you're going to be a lot happier, because this will make your job a whole lot easier. Hopefully I've interested you in what I'm going to show you today. Hopefully this is something that you will take interest in and be able to make your job a little bit easier, so that we can spend more time working with those kids, which is what we all want to do. Okay. Alright, so that's the end of this lesson. The next lesson will be how to format a blank sheet, such as this, into something like this, so that you have all your data, you have your analysis box, and you have this graph automatically graphing for you, because that's the key right there. The automatic graphing and the analysis that you don't have to retype every single time. Those are the keys. Last thing I want to say, when you go and you hit progress reports, you've got a box there. It says for your data and your analysis, right? And you want so badly to type your analysis or your data in there. You've got two options. You can highlight this, copy and paste it, and stick it in that box. Okay. Option number 2, and this option has been approved by our special ed director and assistant director. You can go into that box and you can type, "Please see attached data and analysis graphs," or "Please see attached analysis and graphs," or "data," or whatever you want to say. Please see attached. Those are the key words. And of course, you have to print this out and actually attach it. Okay. So what that saves you from, though, is trying to figure out how to graph into the Infinite Campus document, which doesn't work that great. And it saves you having to go in and put analysis in every single time, unless you just want to copy this and paste it in. That's fine too. But that's how this can all fit together. Again, as you go through these lessons, if you have any questions, email me, text me. I'll be glad to help you anytime. Thank you again.